Have you ever been in a conversation where it felt like you were talking to a ghost? Or maybe you've experienced that sudden, chilling wall of silence just when things were starting to get deep. In psychology, we call this avoidant communication, and if you've been on the receiving end of it, you know it's one of the most frustrating experiences in a relationship. But what if I told you that the silence, the "I'm fine" responses, and the sudden need for space aren't always what they seem? Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of avoidant communication. We're going to decode the secret language of avoidants, look at why their nervous system treats intimacy like a threat, and most importantly, explore how to actually break through that wall without causing them to run even further away. To understand avoidant communication, we first have to talk about attachment theory. Most avoidant communicators fall into the dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant categories. For a dismissive avoidant, independence is their superpower and their shield. They grew up in environments where their emotional needs weren't met or were even discouraged. As a result, they learned that the only person they can truly rely on is themselves. In their mind, vulnerability doesn't lead to connection, it leads to being let down. So, when a conversation gets too heavy, their internal alarm system goes off. This is what psychologists call a deactivating strategy. They aren't trying to be mean, they are literally trying to regulate their own nervous system by creating distance. Let's talk about the signs, because avoidant communication is often subtle before it becomes obvious. One of the most common trends we see right now is selective sharing. A recent study highlighted that avoidants are 3 times more likely to share positive news than negative news. Why? Because sharing a win feels safe, it shows competence, but sharing a loss or a fear feels like showing a wound. If your partner only talks about their successes and goes silent about their struggles, that's a classic avoidant red flag. Then there's the "I'm fine" wall. It's reflexive. You can see they're stressed, you can feel the tension, but the answer is always "I'm fine." To an avoidant, "I'm fine" is a conversational exit ramp. It's their way of saying, "I don't have the tools to process this with you right now, so please stop looking at me." Then we have the vulnerability hangover. This is a term that has been trending lately in relationship psychology. Have you ever had a great night with someone? You opened up, you felt close, maybe you even shared a secret, only for them to completely disappear the next day. That is a vulnerability hangover. The avoidant individual feels like they overshared, and now they feel exposed and weak. To regain their sense of safety, they pull back hard. They might ghost you for a few days or become suddenly cold. It's not that they didn't enjoy the connection, it's that the connection felt dangerous to their sense of autonomy. Now let's decode some of the most common phrases avoidant communicators use. If you've heard these, you know they can feel like a punch to the gut. The first is, "I can't give you what you need." On the surface, it sounds like an honest confession, but in avoidant speak, it's often a shield. It's a way to lower your expectations so they don't have to feel the pressure of failing you. Another one is, "I'm just really focused on my career right now." While it might be true, it's also a convenient, logic-based excuse to avoid emotional progression. By placing the focus on work, they can justify keeping the relationship at a surface level. And then there's the classic, "all relationships have their ups and downs." This is a generalization tactic. It takes your specific, valid emotional pain and puts it into a generic box, effectively ending the conversation before it can get uncomfortable. Why do they do this? It's important to realize that for an avoidant, closeness often feels like losing one's self. They associate intimacy with being smothered or controlled. When you ask for more presence or communication, their brain interprets that as a demand for a resource they don't think they have. This leads to stonewalling. This isn't just someone being stubborn, it's a physiological shutdown. Their heart rate spikes, their brain's logic center goes offline, and they literally cannot process what you are saying. When they stop talking, it's because they are flooded. They are trying to survive the moment, not win the argument. So how do we fix it? If you are the partner of an avoidant, the key is soft communication. Research shows that soft startups, where you state your feelings without blame, are the only things that don't trigger an avoidance defense system. Instead of saying, "You never talk to me," try something like, "I've been feeling a bit disconnected lately and I'd love to just sit with you for a bit." You're making it about your internal state, not their failure. Another strategy is to ask for consent before a heavy talk. Try saying, "I have something on my mind I'd like to discuss. Is now a good time, or would you prefer to talk about it after dinner?" This gives them back their sense of control, which is the one thing they need to feel safe. If you recognize these avoidant patterns in yourself, the path to healing is about incremental vulnerability. You don't have to open the floodgates all at once. Start by sharing one small, imperfect thing a day. Tell someone you were frustrated by traffic, or that you felt a little tired. Practice naming your emotions before you act on the urge to pull away. When you feel that itch to disappear, tell your partner, "I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed and I need 30 minutes of alone time, but I promise I'll come back to finish this." That one sentence, the promise to return, is the bridge that keeps the relationship from collapsing while still respecting your need for space. Ultimately, avoidant communication is a survival mechanism that outlived its usefulness. It protected you when you were a child, but it's isolating you as an adult. For partners, remember that the silence isn't a lack of love, it's a surplus of fear. It takes two people to change this dynamic, one to stop chasing and one to stop running. It's a slow process and there will be setbacks, but building a secure communication style is possible with patience and a lot of I statements. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. What's one phrase you've heard that you now realize was avoidant communication? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of modern relationships. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.